You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Ladies and gents, this is Kevin Kierstead, host of Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap. I hope you're enjoying the show. Truth on Tap is focused on bringing you absolute truth about everything from mainstream media to comedy, from psychology to the paranormal. This show keeps it real, not the fake kind of real, the real kind of real. That same spirit also covers our Caps on Tap show about the Washington Capitals. Caps on Tap shows air only after Capitals wins at this time. Please come like our Facebook page and join the conversation at facebook.com/Truth on Tap show. Truth on Tap has been picked up and promoted by iHeartRadio, the internet audio mega monster, so shows are available there as well as on Spreaker and a limited selection on iTunes. To get in on a show's chat, you can chat from the Facebook page I mentioned or go to www.spreaker.com/user/truth-on-tap and look for the live episode or call in at 910-NOLYING. That's 910-665-9464. Thanks again for checking out Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Opening up the truth pipeline for these bitches.
Truth on Tap. Truth.
My right to say how I say it's mine to give. My mind, my heart, it's mine to share. My soul's my heart.
Truth on Tap.
Any right to abuse. Just the wish to use. You can go to the fire. Chop it up and recombine. Chop it up and recombine.
Jack it up and recombine it. Feeling energized today. God damn it, man. God damn it. Truth on Tap is the show. Kevin Kierstead is the host, or Kierstead. Back in the Norwegian days, where my ancestors come from, on pop side, we were in the Norse Raiders, and they named a town after us. And it was spelled something I can't even fully translate, but it probably would have been pronounced back then. Let's see, I'm Eric the Red. I'm seeing a Kierstead come up on the ship. I'm probably going to say, Kierstead. Askenblock Kierstead. Just like that. Just like, I'm Kevin Kierstead. What the fuck is in a name, you know? What's in a name? Debbie Daly is one of the most popular talk show hosts on Spreaker and iHeart, I guess. I have nothing bad to say about her. You know why? Most of my friends do, and when I say friends, I'm talking about other fellow hosts on Spreaker. I'm not getting into it, folks. I'm not getting into it. There is a huge following that loves her. Here's my problem. It's not just with her. It's with just about every show I've listened to for the past 10 episodes has had somebody attacking somebody. Today's show is going to be what not to do on the radio, but we're not just going to focus on Spreaker host-on-host wars, or host-on-hosts as it were. We're going to focus on the regular stuff I've learned in my less than 1 year of doing the show, because it's not just that 1 year that I'm talking about here. I'm drawing from a history of loving and listening to radio shows. I've heard all the mistakes. I tend to be one who catches them. I'm quite an editor in my mind. I've always been that way. You ever read newspaper articles or whatever online, especially if it's from a very big source, you know, a well-established name, CNN, Fox News, whatever, BBC, and you catch the grammar errors and you catch the spelling errors and you say to yourself, do they need somebody that knows what they're doing? I thought they were big. How is this stuff getting past their editor if it can't get past me? Well, the whole purpose of me even bringing that up is that I pay attention. I pay attention to mistakes, not just in speech and grammar, but in thinking. If you want to know my basic philosophy on my thinking model, you want to listen to my 9-show series on Spreaker that is against Alex Jones. Alex Jones, if you don't know, he's basically a fearmonger. That's the best way to sum him up. He's a fearmonger. He believes in about 90% of popular conspiracy theories, and he sells that fear. People buy that shit. They love it. This is why I'll never be as big as him, and I'm perfectly at ease with that. Perfectly at ease. I won't sell you fear. I'll sell you truth. And truth is not that attractive. If truth was attractive, the news today would look just like the news of the 1940s and before. Remember that news? No? Well, I haven't been alive that long either, but I've looked at it. News back then just reported what the fuck happened. How boring is that? That's insanely boring. Nobody wants that. They want speculation. MH370. CNN lived off of it for 2-3 months. The fuck is going on there? Could have gone here, could have gone there, might have had an autopilot, might have been alien abduction, might have gone in the river and came back and then been hijacked and gone to India, and then now they're going to make it a terrorist bomb. What the fuck? You don't know where that flight is. I'll tell you where it is. I said it the first day. Sometimes planes crash. It's in the bottom of the goddamn ocean. That's where it is. I knew the first day. People love fear. What's going on? Did some unnatural force get a hold of that plane? Oh, we love it. We don't even realize we love it. Fear is something that also results in just about everything wrong with society today. Now, I know you can't go through life being entirely fearless. It hasn't paid off for me very well. I wouldn't recommend living life the way I have. However, the fear that you have, that you may have A, character exposures, something in your character you don't want known, or B, that you may be attacked in some way physically, harmed some way physically. These things are what lead to racism and sexism and religion wars and even political wars. It's people learn what they learn, regardless of how accurate it may be, and then they spend the next 3/4 of their life defending what they think they know. All of that is wrong. The right thing to do is keep your mind open to fact. Fact being what can be most readily proven, or if not proven, is the most likely truth. The most likely truth is something we're operating on a lot, folks. So you've got to have some trust, some element of faith in that truth. And you have to have it based on reason and logic and nothing else. Get your emotions out of it if you want to be accurate in your knowledge of fact. Get the emotions out. Getting back to the topic, what not to do on radio. You may have noticed during this broadcast, and this is something I'm particularly proud of, is that I have not yet used the words or Get them out. Get them out. Now, I've gone a little wacky here on my format because what I wanted to do was talk first about host and hostess ideas on what not to do on radio, and then later callers, guest, co-host, that kind of thing, what they shouldn't do on the radio, which actually includes what the host and hostess shouldn't do, but has a bunch of extra requirements if you want to do this right. So I'm just gonna go back on. Let's just go back on the format that I had in mind. Host and hostess. Spreaker is a good example. My number one tip here is cut the shit. Cut the shit. I don't care if you're 15 years old. If you've got a show, I don't even know if that's legal. I assume it is. If you've got a show on Spreaker or iHeart or TalkShoe or fucking Blog Talk Radio, the worst quality ever, and I'm actually going to reference you to a show that I gave about public speaking. On this show, there goes an See, I caught it. Did you? I caught it. Did you catch it before I told you about it? Watch out for that shit. So I've got this show that I did on public speaking, and I'm not an expert on public speaking, but I learned how to beat it. You can learn stuff without having formal training on it. You don't have to have gone, I've done my share of speeches and public performances, like in plays in college and in high school, a little bit in high school, mostly in college, and some, throughout the course of my spotted career in different professions. So there is that, and I've learned things there, and I put them together in a consolidated 30-minute program on Blog Talk Radio. Quality sucks ass, but you can at least hear it, and I'll reference that on the Facebook page for my show announcement. And that way you can listen to that, because it's going to tell you in the most condensed fashion you've ever heard how to beat the fear of public speaking, and that's the first thing you got to do as a host or a caller. You don't want to sound your voices all shit. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. What are people going to think? They're going to get uncomfortable. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable when you're speaking in front of a group. They want to be comfortable. They'd like to focus on the message and not your nerves. Really. Think of the last time you saw somebody speaking in public whose voice was shaking and who was visibly terrified. Did you enjoy that experience? Do a favor for your audience, whoever that may be, and learn to kill the fear of public speaking. Kill it. Murder it. Don't let it come back. Bury that bitch 6 feet under. Put a flower on there. Tombstone. Here lies public speaking. Motherfucker had me freaking. Yeah, I just made that up. I can rhyme sometimes. Kill it. Put the bitch 6 feet under, and he's not coming back. Zombies don't exist. He's not coming back. And even if he does, he's going to be like this. Now, does that sound scary to you? They're slow, zombies are. Muhammad Ali, even with Parkinson's, would not be afraid of a zombie. He could get him with the left jab. He could tie his right hand behind his back and get him with just the left jab. Zombies are slow. They don't even exist, first of all. There's never going to be we need to get over this zombie craze. And yeah, I'm going off topic because I can, motherfucker. We need to get over this. Zombies don't exist. There may be some disease someday where people have open sores and maybe they're not thinking straight. Okay, you've got a little bit of zombie-like behavior. But let me tell you this. You don't have the part of the brains turn off that can reason and then leave the parts on that are hungry and allow for motor function. That would have to be done through a very precise surgery. So forget about that. The zombies aren't coming. There are plenty of things for you to be scared about, since you want to be scared, you human creature, that are not zombie. And that because zombies is not a legitimate fear. It's just not. What not to do on the radio? First thing you got to do is beat your fear. Well, cut the shit is what I said. Now, you people on Spreaker that are attacking each other, stop that shit. I don't care if you're 15 years old, you have a following. I don't care if it's 3 people. You are selling ideas. You are pushing thoughts. And you have a responsibility there. And your responsibility includes not attacking other people, because when you do that, you are putting a brand of approval on that behavior. I'm going to share a quote with you, and I want you to listen very closely. Eleanor Roosevelt, who was a very strong lady in my view, said, "Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people." Now, today, my mind had to go small because I'm discussing people. I don't like doing this. I didn't want to do this. I'm tired of seeing people on Spreaker attacking each other. That's not what we can do with radio. With radio, which isn't going anywhere, by the way, you think about a medium. Can you read a newspaper while you're driving a car? You can't. Can you watch your favorite news program on TV while you're driving a car? No, not at all. But you can listen. Radio's not going anywhere, folks. Radio is growing. You, as a radio host, need to not fuck everything up. And the way you do that is by pushing your ideas. And your ideas should never be assaults on people unless those people are directly hurting other people. Because what you're selling, if you have the great mind that Eleanor Roosevelt spoke of, is ideas. You don't want to have an average mind discussing nothing but events. You don't want to have a small mind discussing nothing but people. And that is small. Stop attacking each other. I'm not saying you have to be fucking Mary Poppins and goddamn Brady Bunch. No, you don't. You don't. What I'm saying is don't attack other people. What the fuck is that? You know why it sells? Because people that have small minds are easy to find. And they do like the attacks. Is that the kind of group you want following you? Because that's what you're going to get. The people that are going to listen to you attack other hosts are the same people that are buying the Inquirer faithfully. Get away from that. That is small. That is tiny. That is microscopic thinking. Tiny. You're never going to grow that way, and you're forcing other people to not grow as well, because the variety and availability of product out there that is mindless is becoming overwhelming. I want you to have a mindful product. I want you to push ideas. I don't care if you think white men are evil and the devil. At least sell an idea and sell it with reason and logic behind it. Stop attacking other people, individuals. It's ridiculous. Wow, thunder. Yeah, didn't expect that. 80 degrees in my studio today. Hopefully you're not hearing the interference of... I have my biggest fan with me in the studio today. It's about 2 feet tall. It's got 3 speeds. So you may hear the occasional bloop, 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 bloop of wind going by that's not coming out of my mouth. And that's just the way that goes when you are using your back porch as a studio. We don't sugarcoat anything here. We don't put pretty little bows on it. I'm on a back porch that doesn't look very professional. I'm using a headset that has been chewed on by my cat, a laptop that would probably serve better as a wheel block or something. It just is amazing that I'm even coming across the internet right now and sounding even halfway decent. Amazing. Very unlikely with the equipment that I have. Shitty DSL connection. So many things are against the possibility of me broadcasting. That, to me, it is a small miracle that you can even hear me right now. Unfucking believable, to be honest. Cut the shit. Cut the shit, Spreaker host. Cut the shit, iHeart host. TalkShoe, Blog Talk Radio. Cut the shit, MixLR. Stop attacking other hosts. You've got a format. You may even have a huge listener base. Sell something worth selling. Sell ideas. Educate people. Be passionate about what you believe in. Stop fucking attacking each other. Okay? I will never attack another host. It's just not going to... Go ahead. Attack the shit out of me. You want to test the theory? See if you can get me to attack you. I'm just not going to do it. I don't have time for that shit. And I've been attacked before. There's one time where I attacked a critic of one of my books, and and I've had plenty of critics of my books, but one of the reason that I attacked him in particular, and he was small time. He had like maybe 100 viewers of this blog post that he had about one of my books called Name of All. It was my first novel. And he said a bunch of shit that wasn't accurate about the storyline, and I'm thinking, okay, I can take the criticism. I don't like it. Who likes criticism? I can take it if he stays accurate. But what he's doing now is misrepresenting my story. So I started looking into it a little deeper, and I found out that about 10 or 12 of his major points about my story were not accurate to the narrative. And I thought, I can't have this. I had to do a radio show on him. And you can look that one up. It's called Critiquing the Critic. It's not something I want to do. And I didn't want to attack him as much as I wanted to attack how much faith we put into reviews when the reviewer may not be accurate. I had a whole new way of looking at reviews after that. After reading his blog post, realizing that just because a reviewer says something doesn't mean I should believe it. Hopefully you've learned that on your own. If not, you will. You will. Don't just trust the reviewers. You got to look yourself. Now, if 9 out of 10 reviewers are saying your fucking book sucks, it probably does. Luckily, I haven't had that problem on any of the 4 books I have out right now. But that could change with the 5th or 6th book. You don't know. You don't know how it's going to be received. And I'm getting closer and closer to the cutting edge of what's tasteful, because I'm looking for new avenues to open up. I don't want to stay in the traditional formats. So it's when you start getting into experimental shit, be ready for failure. That's how that works. Cut the shit, Spreaker host. Cut the shit, radio host. Stop attacking each other. Number 2, be original. People are tired of hearing the same old shit. Be original. Number 3, check your sources. Know your shit. I had a guy that was going to be on my show a couple weeks ago. I was really, really attracted to his idea. And what he's selling, and he's got it in book form and video form up on YouTube, is how to survive urban life. And basically the whole trick is knowing how to spot psychopaths. And I loved this idea. I was a psych and English major. I've always been interested in helping people avoid becoming a true victim. And you would be a victim if you came under the control of a psychopath. However, as I was researching him, I was very excited about this show. I almost bit. I was so close to gobbling up the bait. I went and looked at the video that he had. All right. In this video, he's talking about psychopaths, and most of the things he's saying are accurate, but some didn't feel right. Something felt off. And I'm looking at the video, and I realized that he's got just about every famous person in this video as he's talking about this level of psychopathy and that level of psychopathy. He goes on, and you're seeing George Bush Sr., Obama, the last 7 or 8 presidents on video in this. And I'm going, okay, what you need here at the very least, is a disclaimer at the beginning of this video that says people shown in this video are not necessarily psychopaths. But you didn't. So the inference is everybody you see in this video is a psychopath. Then I asked him, listen, my fans that listen to my show need a little bit of evidence. They need to know your qualifications as well. And I found out he had no formal psychological training. And I was really taken aback. He's just a guy. No offense to you, Stefan, but I cannot allow someone who doesn't have any expertise, who seems to be pointing the finger at everybody who has achieved fame and labeling them with psychopath, when it takes somebody who is not only trained in psychology, but who is a psychiatrist. That's 8 years of schooling or more, including medical schooling, before you can label someone a psychopath. So that didn't work for me, and I could not let those ideas transfer to my audience in good faith. Couldn't do it. So, Stefan, sorry, I'm sure you know your shit. I'm still looking, by the way, for somebody who is an expert and who does have the training to help my audience spot a psychopath, or even people who have neuroses that could harm them. I want all of that available for you so you can navigate the murky trials of this life with a little more precision, a little more fun, a little more safety. Oh, that was check your sources. Yeah, 4, don't be too sure of anything. Socrates, my friend, said, only one thing that I know, and that is that I know nothing. I'm not smarter than Socrates. Are you? Are you? I'm not smarter than Socrates. I will emulate him until I feel I've become smarter than him. Then I'll do my own path. And people like him, you know. Socrates was brilliant, and he didn't know anything. And the more you learn, the more you read. When you're 17, you know everything, don't you? But the more you learn, the more you realize, I've been told a whole bunch of shit that I'm not so sure is correct. Have you ever wondered why? Part of it is the desire for fame, the desire for immortality. Mankind has, throughout history, put his name next to experiments and evidence that couldn't be disproven at the time and called that fact. Some of that stuff goes on unchallenged for centuries, millennia. Once you challenge it, once you put it through the rigors of serious scrutiny, you see it fall apart. So don't be so sure of anything. Always keep your mind open, and I mean truly open. If you're sitting there thinking, look, I know everything, you come at me with your story so I can pick it apart, well then you're not that smart. I'll be honest with you. Intelligence requires an open mind. All of the great minds in the past have said that, the ones that were involved in philosophy and psychology and sociology and anthropology, and even people like Einstein said, if you want to be really intelligent, and I'm not quoting, I'm paraphrasing, your mind has to be like a crossroads. You have to let information go through it, not hang on to it. And I've always said you need to look at knowledge as you would look at not water in a cup that you want to fill up, but as water passing under a microscope. You're getting a working impression that is subject to change at any moment given good evidence. Be willing to have the information in your brain subject to change given good evidence. If you know everything already, then your mind's closed. Your mind's closed. Nobody can talk to you. Nobody's going to convince you of anything. You know, you're going to be you're stuck. You're right there in what you think you know. Oh, you're sure you know it. I know, but I'm telling you, you think you know it. You don't know shit. For all you know, it is the Matrix. We're nothing. We're all plugged into a computer program. You don't know. All you can do is speculate. And I say, if you want to be accurate in this life, and you're going to speculate, have good sources. Check your fucking sources. And don't be too sure of anything. Use whatever language you need to be accurate. If cussing adds emphasis and emotion, you know, you've already given up punctuation if you're on the radio. You've already given up body language. So there are a limited number of tools available for you to get your ideas across accurately on the radio. And goddamn it, man, I say if you got to cuss, go ahead. I actually put mine up for a vote before I started this show to my Facebook friends and said, do I cuss? Should I cuss? I have a couple of friends that are hosts that say, don't do that. You're ruining your show if you do that. But 9 out of 10 people that responded said, hey, if it helps your show, do it, you know. And I suspect that it does to some degree help my show. Helps me to get emphasis, really just emphasis across. And sometimes comedy, you know, I don't know. I realize that the more elite among us might find it unattractive. Well, you've got to get down into the ghetto and get the ghetto words out, huh? Well, yeah, sometimes I do, goddammit. Sometimes it makes me feel better. Sometimes it makes me feel like I've added accent to my message. And so I do. So I do. Get rid of and you know. I still struggle with these. I'm much better than I used to be. However, lately, I've been using you know a lot more. You got to watch that. You got to throw a lasso around that, yank it down to the ground, and tie those hoofs together. Get that under control. 7 was kill your fear of public speaking. I told you that I was going to share an episode that I did on this, and I am. So I'm copying it right now, and I'm pasting it on the show announcement for this episode that you're listening to. I don't know if you're listening right now through Spreaker, or if you're listening through some app, or through, you wouldn't be on iHeart yet because it doesn't go over there until after the show's over. So whatever you're listening through, the Facebook page is facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. Don't forget the show. TOTS is an easy way to remember it. Truth on Tap Show. Facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. I am going to, I've already pasted the link there of the show I did on public speaking. That's the number one thing you have to kill. Nobody's going to want to listen to you if you're nervous and unhappy. The question's going to be, why the fuck are you doing a radio show? Me, I don't like the sound of my voice. I don't like talking. The reason I do a radio show is because I guess I love this medium more than any other for transmitting information, and I think a lot of it has to do with forcing a listener to use their imagination a little, because imagination to me is the most powerful human quality you can have. It's what leads to everything that's innovative. That's what I believe. All right, so we got that pasted there. The Facebook page was facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. We're going to get into now a little bit of the expectations, I think, that a host should have of his or her callers or co-hosts or guests. And this is something that I've struggled with as well, some, throughout the past year, as I've had callers, co-hosts, guests. And maybe I'll use the second part of this first half of the show to refer future callers/guests to, so that they understand what I expect of them. Number one is I expect those first 6 or 7 things that we talked about. You know, don't be too sure of anything. Check your sources. Be original. Let's not do the repetition thing. Don't be nervous all the time. Get rid of and you know. I had one guest on one time, and she was very, very bright. She was a lawyer, and we were talking about the paranormal. And she said or literally, I'm going to try to be accurate with this, about every 4th or 5th word. That's it. You've lost. I should have known then, but I didn't know enough that I should have somehow cut that interview short. Because once you do that for about a minute or two, maybe 3 minutes tops, you've lost the audience. All they can hear at that point is and Literally, they begin counting them sometimes. It's got to go. It's got to go. Don't do it. Callers, guests, co-hosts, hosts, you should make sure they're not doing this. Get rid of and you know, or anything that's too repetitive and meaningless, filler words, things like that. Most of the stuff you've heard about hosts and hostesses on radio shows like you'll find on Spreaker cannot be independently verified. It's all opinion, and it's all of an attack nature. Once in a while you hear a compliment. You know, I've got my friends that I like to listen to their shows, and some of the things they've said are very pointed and mean. But I like them anyway, you know. Paul Dembski, Apocalypse, one of my favorites. There are a few others that I probably would, if they're not racist or sexist and their show's informative, I like them. If they don't attack other people all the time, I like them. I'm telling you, once you start attacking other people, you've lost me. I don't care who you're attacking. Unless that person is directly hurting large numbers of people with misinformation or outright lying, then I can't appreciate your attack on them. If it's something they said about you, that's a personal thing. You work that out between yourselves. I don't want to hear that as a listener. Ideas is what I like to hear. And if you listen to most of my shows, it is about ideas. I pride myself on that. I don't have much pride. Pride is something you ought to murder. And this applies to both show hosts, callers, and everybody in general. Murder your pride. Pride doesn't help you. Do you know what pride is? Let's say you're proud of something. Let's say I'm proud that I try to always tell the truth on this show. Do you know what I'm saying with that? I'm saying that if you don't always tell the truth, you shouldn't feel any pride. There's something wrong with you. And that's not true. You may not know. Unless you're knowingly using something that's untruthful to mislead large numbers of people, then I can't say there's something wrong with what you're doing. So knowing the truth and using the truth, there's a huge bridge there that we're not seeing. And that bridge can come in many different flavors. So I don't want to judge people for not telling the truth like I do. And I had to learn that. I was proud of myself for being truthful, for wanting to add to the body of truth even when it's not too pretty. And you guys that have listened routinely know that I often shoot myself in the foot because I'll throw truths out there that are not favorable to me. But I think that's a good thing. I still think it's a good thing. It's not a pride thing. It's what I'd like to see from everybody. So it's not me saying this is a great thing and I do it. It's me saying I think this is a great thing and I wish everybody did it. Just being truthful. It's not always fun, is it? We talked about the analogy of setting up beside the river of truth, and it's an ugly river, and it's got all the ugly stuff in it. And what I think of as absolute truth is what would a recording device record? If it could record all events, all words, all star explosions, everything in history, from science to philosophy to psychology, everything that's ever been done, that's the absolute river of truth as we know it, as we should know it. And we stray from that at varying distances. I try to set up on this show right next to that river, and then as soon as this show's over, I'll walk straight the fuck away because it's not pleasant sitting there beside the river of truth all day. There's a lot of ugliness in it. So you want to get away from that, but not on this show. I've made it my basic philosophy that on this show we focus on truth, and it isn't always pretty. But at least you're not getting smoke blown up your ass. Number 2 for callers, guest, co-host, share the mic. Share the fucking mic. If more than half of the time you, the caller or co-host or guest, is being heard, then you're taking too much time. You're not being respectful of give and take. And the show is not your platform. And that's why you'll see on major news shows, a politician comes on and they start talking, the host has to interrupt him. And I hate people that interrupt. But if they do it because this guy's going on past 2 minutes and they've got a 3-minute spot, you got to cut him off. I'm not handing you the mic to talk to my audience. What I'm doing is trying to include what you know with what I have to say to my audience. Share the mic. Number 3, if you expect something other than exposure in return, say it up front. I have a friend who's a great guy who thought, I don't know what he expected. He expected something special for appearing on my show. And I never indicated in any way that there was going to be something like that. I just didn't. So I don't know why he expected that. But I've learned my lesson. I tell you up front now, if you're calling into my show, all you're getting is exposure. If you want something more than exposure, say it up front, and the answer's probably no. But I'm just telling you that. That's all. That's all this show. I don't have the resources to give you $100 to appear on my show. It's just not going to happen. Not anytime soon. So, and I don't know if I'd do that anyway. Exposure should be enough. If you believe in something, sharing your idea should be enough. Show energy. Have you noticed, some of you guys that know me personally, that also listen to the shows, realize that when we're out in public together, I don't have the same level of energy, that I do on this show. When I do a radio show, and what I like to hear on other radio shows is concentrated energy, passion about something. Because people are taking the time out of their day to listen to what you have to say. And the last thing they want to hear is somebody who doesn't care what they're talking about. Even if it's just something like comedy that's basically meaningless and meant to get a little laugh, you got to focus some energy into it. Think of your favorite comedians of all time. Think of your top 10. How many of them went up on the stage and were like, besides Stephen Wright, zombie talk? Nobody. They had energy. Think of Robin Williams. Think of George Carlin. Jerry Seinfeld, for Christ's sake. They came with energy. Ray Romano. I mean, these are people who knew that if you were going to take time out of your busy schedule to listen to them, they needed to pack in the goodies. And people that are passionate about their trade or their hobby are always more attractive in an entertainment format than anyone else. People that don't have the passion, that just seem very disconnected and lethargic, I don't want to hear you. I will not listen to you. Whether you're doing a comedy show or a radio show or a TV show, if you're just bored with what you're doing, get the fuck out of here. I can see boredom all day long. Give me something special. People feed off of your energy. They really do. And that comes across on the radio just as well as any other medium. They will feed off of it. If there's a slight delay, and there often is in radio, wait for 1 or 2 seconds before answering any question and make sure the delay will not have you interrupting. And that goes for hosts too. Once you establish that you've got a delay, you should know this in the first minute of talking to somebody. Wait just 1 to 2 seconds before answering. And that should clear up that interruption issue. Because nothing's more annoying than someone who's getting interrupted every third sentence by the caller because they don't know that the person's not done. So just wait a second. And last but not least on the caller guest co-host tip is use the highest quality method of calling or connecting. In general, Skype is better than the telephone. In person is generally best of all, but that also depends on the host equipment. I don't have the facilities right now. If I were to have a person here with me doing the show, I would have to invest in some new hardware. So every guest that's been on this show so far has either called in or Skyped in. And you're going to have delays, you're going to have interference, cell phone quality is always limited. Skype is better if you've got a headset. And I would prefer Skype. You need to make that known up front if you're a host. That's the basic summary of shit not to do on the radio, but there's going to be more. There's going to be more, and it is at this point in the show where I'm going to give myself a little bit of artistic license and feel free to deviate from whatever my main topic was. However, I don't feel done with this topic. I think it's important to get out there things that make bad radio. And we don't do it enough. We need some good guidelines. You can Google and see the opinions of many, but what really works? If you want to get the professional training about what not to do on radio, well, you got to pay money. You got to go through schooling. And I think you just need to use the basic application of logic and reason applied to this medium to understand what not to do on radio. And all you have to do there is think of everything you've heard on radio that was a total turnoff to you. And then don't do that. You can even make notes. This show, I have a friend, Crash Jesus, HTLA1 Radio out of New York. You can find him at HTLA1ONE.com. And he's a professional. He's got all the back end and the front end. He's got all of the education formally in film and radio. And he's got the radio voice. So he's nothing missing from his program. And, he's one of the ones that says, don't cuss, you're running your show, which is okay. He's also one that can accurately analyze a show that is on the decline during the show, but a radio show that's gradually getting worse over episodes. He knew, there was one guy he talked about in specific who had an awesome radio show who somehow started fading. He started losing interest or something, started fucking up his show. And it was a sad thing for Crash to watch. And I can agree with him there. But I'm not that much of a student. He's far more of a student than I am of radio in general. And this is all the technical parts. And he paid close attention, and he's got everything there. I don't know. He and his wife, Kate, both do shows, and they do great shows. But I haven't heard from him much lately. I think he's really busy, is the impression that I get. He's called into my show. In fact, I've had this topic before, shit not to do on the radio, how to do radio. And I brought in himself as an expert and others. And You know, but the limiting part of the show that I did, the 3 shows I did with him, was my technology. And at the time, using Radio Boss software, which is very powerful, I didn't know enough about it. So I had too much bass on my caller coming in, whereas he had already invested in all the equipment to have his own bass just right. So it blew his bass out. Things like that. So I wasn't doing him any favors, was I, by basically screwing up his voice on my radio show. And all I had to do was listen. That's something you could do if you're a Spreaker host. Once your show gets going and you're talking, press play on the show page and listen for a second. Make sure you sound normal coming across. If you've got callers in, right when they first call in, you got maybe an 8-second delay before that gets to the air. Press listen to make sure their voice is coming through and isn't too crazy. I've made that mistake several times in the past. So if you're going to do radio, monitor your shit. Just listen once in a while. You'll learn to still be able to talk. I'm doing it right now while listening to your show to make sure that nothing is too distorted. It's not that hard. Oh, let's see if any of you Bastardian refugees are in the chat. Blog Talk Radio. Let me close that page. We're going to talk a little bit more about character attacks. I think this is bad stuff, people. I think you stay away from this. Got some people in chat. Who's in there? Random Radio Network. Good comment. I'm an ummer as well. Oh, an ummer. Yeah, okay. So that's cool. Yeah, we do uhs and ums. I just listened to your show earlier. I don't remember your name. What's your name? You did like a 4-minute mobile show, Random Radio Network. And it was a good show, and I just don't remember your name because of my memory. For all I know, you're world famous. It's lost on me. It's lost on me. I'm a wasted listener sometimes when it comes to names. So Alan Wayne. Okay, you guys make sure to check out his show, Random Radio Network. Do the search. He's on Spreaker. And there was a recent episode he did that turned into somehow a motherfucking comment war. Now, this is what I hate. See, maybe it's I'm only 42. People like Debbie Daly, I think Debbie's in her 50s. I would expect more maturity from them. I'm not that mature. I get really immature when I do comedy. I'm very slapstick. I love to watch people fall the fuck down. That's funny to me. I love watching people fall down. That's imbecile. I'm an 8-year-old in my mind in that respect. But to see people going after each other on the radio makes me think that I am witnessing the greatest waste of human effort in my life. How dare they, when they could be pushing ideas and thoughts and solutions and open questions that need more analyzing to draw anything from them. Instead, they're going to call each other various body parts. I don't like that. It's so much of a waste of time. I'm surprised. I'll tell you this. I'm surprised that Debbie Daly, with her following and the size of her audience, is resorting to this kind of thing. Debbie Daly, Angela Truth, you guys stop that shit. I'm asking you, okay? As a friend and as a fellow host, I'm asking you, use your platform for something great. Personal attacks are not great. They're not. They're very small, and I know you guys are better than that, and I know you're bigger than that. Alan's talking about it here. Check out my Mormon Confidential show, very informative. Okay, now the Mormon Confidential show, is that also under the Random Radio Network? I'm going to share the Random Radio Network link on the Facebook page for the announcement of this show and this show in general, which is facebook.com/truthontapshow, for those that didn't know. And you will be able to find Alan's Random Radio Network there. So let me put that in. And that's facebook.com/truthontapshow. You'll see it there. Random Radio Network. It's back. The Random Radio Network features the RR Podcast, Pipe Bomb Podcast, music shows, and more. Come get you some, people. See what I'm doing here? I'm taking a fellow host that I know virtually nothing about, and I'm promoting his stuff. Is that so evil? I don't care if he takes half my listeners. Take them. Take them. Because if you're offering a better product than I am, then I've done them no disservice by introducing you to them. That's fine with me. Doesn't hurt me a bit. I am definitely not in this for fame. You can look at my numbers and tell that. What I am in this for is truth, and a big part of what I believe in is that don't waste time attacking other characters. Unless those characters are people like Alex Jones. You can think of some news hosts, I'm sure, that are misleading large groups of people when it comes to factual information. And you should probably attack at least their methodology, not them. But, that's just me. That's just me. It takes all kinds. My lovely girlfriend has said good morning to me through Facebook, and I shall say good morning back. Doing a show now talking about you. What a lady she is. She works full-time at a real job, not the kind of work I do, which is writing books, doing this radio show, and fixing computers. She then has basically a second full-time job in which she does a book blog and a Facebook thing for Amazon about romance books. She focuses on the romance books, and she does really well with that. And on top of all that, she finds the time to take care of me when I'm sick and when I'm not sick, and to take care of her daughter and 4 cats, which are all like individual children. So how she does this, I don't know. It whips her ass, I can tell you that. You can see the result in her energy. It just drains her. But she, day after day, she just reminds me of, have you ever seen the Ward Gotti series of boxing matches? These guys just about killed each other over 10 rounds, 12 rounds. And they just kept coming. It was like they weren't human. Anybody who takes more than 10 or 12 hard punches to the head should not be able to keep swinging their own arms. These guys took a couple of hundred. And each fight. And it was ridiculous. That's her. That's her. She's asking, what are you talking about? So, that's what she does, and I wish I could. You guys that listen routinely know that I have my own medical issues going on. I'm not going to go into them. It's depressing. But I fight it. I fight a lot. Let's see what he's got. Alan here says, full-time job, family, and radio student. I'm also a student. I'm also really a student, to be honest with you. I'm no professor here. But, I've learned things. And I've learned things by just listening. And I've listened. I was just reading today. Dads, Dames, Demons, and a Dwarf. You guys know who wrote that, right? I'll give you 3 guesses, but you only need 1. Alan probably already knows. Okay, yeah, I'll tune in later. You guys make sure to check out Random Radio Network with Alan. And he's busy, and he's on the move, so you may get some short episodes here and there like you do with Apocalypse, but, length of show is not necessarily equivalent to value in content. And I'm all about content. So listen to their shows. Check them out. Shit Not to Do on the Radio is the name of this episode. Kevin Kierstead is the host. Also, Kevin Kierstead, if you want to say it that way. And we're talking about shit not to do on the radio, but we're also showing shit not to do on the radio. I show you, through my own mistakes, what not to do on the radio. You want to know how to do radio the right way? You really want to make it? You want to be famous? Go listen to Crash Jesus' show. I don't know if he's done a lot of episodes lately, but he does things correctly, from the technical end to the speaking end and everything in between. And that's HTLA1.com. You can find his radio show program, and his wife does one too. And I think they occasionally do shows together. So you've got his show, then her show, then their show. So, and he covers a variety of topics. Radio student at the Radio Connection. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. Random Radio Network. That's www.rrf.edu. The technical end is blown on the mobile shows. Yeah, I know. I do them too. We like to go hunting, ghost hunting, because it's fun, back in a place called Old House Woods, and I use my mobile for that. Half the time the show just doesn't even broadcast. It says it is, and then when I'm done it says error, connecting or whatever. And then the other half, it's very low quality. But, it's all about content. You can afford, when you're doing mobile, to go ahead and give up quality. People understand that. They'll make an allowance for that. You just say it up front. I'm doing a mobile broadcast. The best you're going to get is what an iPhone 4S can broadcast in audio quality. That's all I've got. So people will make an allowance for that. Yep. Alan Wayne, Random Radio Network. You guys need to check him out. And what I'll do here is, I don't really need a break right now, but I often find that if I take a break early, I can come back even harder in my second half. And as you guys know, I like to do the second half of my radio shows freestyle. I like to constantly test my ability to come up with new shit on the fly without notes or scripts or anything. So that's probably what we'll go ahead and do here. I'm going to line up a couple of songs for you. And these are songs, naturally, for those of you, since this is about what not to do on radio, don't play copyrighted shit. You can go through various sources to find license-free music to play that's actually good music. And I have oral contracts, if you will, with two bands now that I like to play their stuff routinely. And also the other stuff that I play is completely Creative Commons. It's license-free. You can play it for any reason, even commercial. And as of yet, this is not a commercial enterprise, the show I'm doing now. So, and listening to this, I love this pre-listen feature, is awesome. I asked Dimitri, who created Radio Boss Software, to put this feature in for me so that when I played a song for you, if I wasn't too sure about how good it would be, I could actually listen to it with a pre-listen feature where you wouldn't hear it, but I would. And that's what I'm doing now to make sure that I don't play something that you might not like. But hell, who knows if you're going to like it anyway. I'm just going to have to take my chances here, as I always do. So it's going to be something called Snowflake from Gloria. This is a kind of a weird half poetry, half singing thing. She's got a good voice, and it's Angel mixed with Doka Shatiru, and I have some more of his stuff. I'm going to play one of my songs, which I like. I made this fucking song from scratch, and using a software called Reason, and it's good software for making your own music. It's kind of a kick-ass hip-hop beat. I like energy music. My favorite band of all time is Rage Against the Machine, and then going down the list would be Counting Crows and Sting. So you figure out that combination. We'll do that. For those of you that do not know how to find me outside of what you're listening to right now, there will be a quick commercial, and that's going to tell you where to find me, how to follow. And after that, we will go on to play a couple songs, and then we'll come back and go freestyle, just cut loose on this shit, and get kind of crazy with it. How's that sound to you? Does that sound good? Goddamn right it does, man. That is that. And because of that,
You're
here goes
listening
this.
to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Ladies and gents, this is Kevin Kierstead, host of Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap. I hope you're enjoying the show. Truth on Tap is focused on bringing you absolute truth about everything from mainstream media to comedy, from psychology to the paranormal. This show keeps it real, not the fake kind of real, the real kind of real. That same spirit also covers our Caps on Tap show about the Washington Capitals. Caps on Tap shows air only after Capitals wins at this time. Please come like our Facebook page and join the conversation at facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. Truth on Tap has been picked up and promoted by iHeartRadio, the internet audio mega monster, so shows are available there as well as on Spreaker and a limited selection on iTunes. To get in on a show's chat, you can chat from the Facebook page I mentioned, or go to www.spreaker.com/user/TruthOnTap and look for the live episode, or call in at 910-NO-LYING. That's 910-665-9464. Thanks again for checking out Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead. Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Silent night, holy night. Silent night, holy night. Holy night. Holy night.
to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, meet your adrenaline, settle in, it's medicine. Doper than a supplement, provoking you to let us in. Vocals are effortless, hoping you never miss when approaching a specialist.
It's Togo, your man Focho, your man So-So. You're playing Rodo, break bread at 400. Please and please MCs, no need to freeze, just flee. You see, we be the best to bless the stage on a higher degree.
There's none flyer than weak, fire the sticks, but fire we retire the beat. Desire, amplify the decrease, try and compete. Design with the heat, you find my fleets dying and heat. you know.
So we all get the fat itis.
Yeah.
My old Midas touch reaches, reach your whole lighters up and beats. My speech, a coal miner to a diamond beach. We've been working, searching for that perfect piece. Hey yo, my advice is to you, think twice. Jazz addicts is the crew, we get nice, precise with the rhyme on the cut. The illest lemonade was a popular drink and it still is.
Now that you following, it's time for the hollering. So scream for the oxygen bright like a halogen night light. We got them in sight, right? We're rocking the right. Where we want them, stay tight without a problem.
Excite, bite, don't overheat, just jump when you wanna.
Fist pump when you wanna. Make snow, this is on.
We gonna keep it hot in here, let's persevere, no drama. Just good karma first, yeah.
I'll put you in the sky, a peace sign for a beast rhyme. No decline, block your stunners, then release shine. We carefree at the moment and we own it. Enjoy the aerial view through your stereo component. Just focus.
We known for blasting percussion and rapping production and rapping that function. Slapping you suckers, amassing the love is so massive. These brothers on task is the toughest. Bump this, trust us when we say my advice is to you. Think twice. Jazz addicts is the crew. We get nice, precise with a rhyme on the cut. The illest lemonade was a popular drink and it still is.
Lemonade was a popular drink and it still is. I give more props. I give more props.
Jazz addicts is the crew, we get nice, precise with the rhyme on the cut. The illest lemonade was a popular drink and it still is.
To Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Truth on Tap is the show. Kevin Kierstead is the host. Shit not to do on the radio is the topic. And I think we've been covering it rather well. I've tried not to leave out anything important yet you, as a listener, and possibly a critic, may find out that I've left something out of the show that is critically important. So if that's the case, go into the chat room and paste it so I can include it, or you can go to the Facebook page and post it in the comments to the show announcement. So that what I like to do is if people are looking over the Facebook page to look at an old episode, they have the comments there for clarification. You can also do that on the Spreaker page or the iHeart page for the show. I'm looking here at quotes about attacking people. And as you know, in the second half of this show, we generally go freestyle. I'm allowed to leave topic, but I don't have to. And I'm looking at a few that I think apply. And one is, the truth is incontrovertible, which means you can't argue with it. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. That's a Winston Churchill quote. And it's one that, first of all, I love that guy. But secondly, I think that whenever you can get a good quote that is super duper condensed and carries huge weight, I think that's a score. Now, you know, somebody, I think Thomas Paine said something like, I hate quotes. Maybe quotes aren't a fair way to summarize an individual from the past, but I think often these little tidbits of wisdom are all we have to go on. It's kind of in our human nature to carry these little chunks of wisdom around, passed down through the generations with us to help us survive and navigate this life. I don't know. I can't see anything wrong with it. Nothing wrong with sharing quotes. It's not as if I'm saying they're, some sort of holy truth. I'm just saying that some famous person in the past said this, and it makes sense to me. General George S. Patton, who is a shaky character, I think he was kind of a warmonger from what I've read. He just seemed bloodthirsty. So that's a character issue for me, but that doesn't mean he can't say something that's true. And what he said is nobody ever defended anything successfully. There is only attack and attack and attack some more. So you can also draw from that, as applied to the topic of this show, that if you are getting attacked, let it go. Let it go. What are you going to do? They said this about me, that's not true. They said that about me, that's not true. Well, forget about that. Let them attack. You know, if someone's talking about you, they, and generally, probably only envy you. Unless they can successfully attack with reason and logic your methodology, they're just attacking you. And when people come after your character, they want something you have, or they hate something that you have that they don't. They just don't like it. And human nature, I'm telling you, we're not only a work in progress, we aren't even into the fucking beta stage yet. Broken Manimal series, listen to it. We're all kinds of fucked up. And we're not that great. We like to think it though, don't we? But gosh, we have some serious flaws in our natural character. I admit that most of those are natural. And I can't sit here and say, well, we shouldn't do that. Because it is natural, some of these things. But it's ugly. It's really ugly compared to an ideal that we could all get in our head about great behavior. Oh, let's see what else we have about these. This is from Sun Tzu. Hence, the general is skillful in attack whose opponent does not know what to defend. And he is skillful in defense whose opponent does not know what to attack. Well, that sounds like circular talk to me. So, you know, the art of war notwithstanding, I'm going to dismiss that one. And I don't know some of these people. John Stewart, huh? All right, well, let's see what John Stewart had to say about it. In the events of September 11, 2001, I'm sorry, if the event, this very small type here, so I'm having a problem with it, but it says, if the events of 9/11 have proven anything, it's that terrorists can attack us, but they can't take away what makes us American, our freedom, our liberty, our civil rights. No, only Attorney General John Ashcroft can do that. Oh, that's true. That's true. Yep. Niccolo Machiavelli, you may know him as the author of The Prince, and you'll often hear Machiavellian politics. Turns out Bill Clinton, I once saw, they caught him on camera. They asked him what his favorite book was, and he said The Prince. And if you don't know, Machiavelli's The Prince basically says, kill everything that's in your way if you want to make it in power. Destroy all opposition. Destroy all uprisings. You know, very vicious philosophy on keeping your power in politics. And he said, men rise from one ambition to another. First, they seek to secure themselves against attack, and then they attack others. I think that's a pretty fair assessment of what happens. People don't handle power too well. I am one person in probably 10,000 who is able to take any kind of power that I have and basically dismiss it and say, this means shit. It means nothing. You know, as far as what I can get or how I can use it, there are too many people in power. I see it in law enforcement all the time. As soon as they get a gun and a badge, my God, they think they're fucking Thor, don't they? Oh my God, it makes me sick to my stomach. Protect and serve, man. Read that shit over and over if you have to. Protect and serve, and not serve your own interest. But we can't make them behave, can we? No, we try. We come up with laws. Then you got to catch them. Then you got to make the charges stick. And even then, they may come out of whatever punishment they had and do it again. You're not going to change people. Mother Nature can change people. That's about it. Oh, let's see what else we've got here now. In the news, I wanted to get a little bit into the news here, so let me pull it up because there were some stories that had my concern. And what are you doing on this July 1st, a Tuesday, 2014? I'm a little upset about the date because today is the day that in the not-so-great Commonwealth of Virginia, I have to register my scooter. Yeah, my 49cc scooter that can't even go 35 miles an hour with any consistency has to now have a license plate on it. They're coming, man. They find a way to get the money and they get it. It'll be a matter of time before you're registering your goddamn chainsaws. Sad. But technically I can't ride again until I get it registered, so I'll probably go today or tomorrow and ride it illegally because I'm kind of rebellious like that. The 1 mile down to the DMV and then get it registered for $10. Sad. Just sad. You can't have anything, not without the government knowing. I'm not totally anti-government, but you know, it's a monster. Once you start feeding it, it just wants more. I don't know. So news is up. Let's have a look at it. You guys know how I feel about my news sources. I think BBC is about the most accurate as far as being objective, and that's why they're more boring generally than other news sources, because they won't inject drama into it. I think Fox News is ridiculously inaccurate. I think MSNBC truly caters to the far left, and if you want accurate news, you got to find some good sources, and those aren't them. BBC, you can get shit coming off the wire, Reuters or whatever, that is accurate, but you also have to check your facts there. Sad, man. I like the fact-checking sites, and they're not perfect either. They have their own flaws, but you can fact-check their fact checks essentially by looking at the references. So it's really nothing that's going to get past you if you want to know the truth about a given news item. And PolitiFact is a good one. Tampa Bay Times has a little division called PolitiFact. Check them out if you haven't. And factcheck.org is probably the most accurate and in-depth, objective view of news reports that there is. And they're good. They just, they give you plenty of sources to check. One problem I have with PolitiFact is their truth meter. They sometimes have problems with logic. If somebody said something on June 30th that was true on June 30th, but had they waited till July 1st to say it, it would have been false given new information. You don't give that a partially true rating. It was true the day they said it. They cannot be responsible for new information that came out that they did not know. So if you just ignore their rating and read the story, you'll get your truth. But you probably won't always agree with their rating. So the truth-o-meter isn't always accurate. Let's see, I'm looking at the news here. How about that World Cup? I think the U.S. is playing today, are they not? Yeah, it's a unifying force. I have to lie, I'm not a soccer fan. I have nothing against it. It's kind of like hockey. I'm a huge hockey fan. It just moves a little too slow, not quite as many fistfights as I need to keep my interest. But, occasionally somebody will kick someone's head in, or a fan will run across the field naked with a big tuba playing a song, and you get that kind of entertainment. But there's a little bit too little scoring for me, so I don't know if they need to widen the goalpost or make the ball smaller, or something needs to give there. I don't know. Maybe that's why they get so excited when they score, because it happens so rarely. We got a tropical storm coming in. Southeast Virginia looks like for July 4th we're going to have a bit of a rain on our parade. Google News isn't hitting on much here today. Yeah, I probably won't be talking about the news much, because I'm not seeing anything impressive. I wanted to talk. There was an Al Qaeda warning to the U.S., and I don't see that here, and I'm not sure why that wouldn't make news. Maybe it's because wherever I saw it, I don't remember where I saw the headline. I think it was on actually Facebook. They put the headlines over on the right. I saw it there, so let me go, and I need to look at the story and see if it's got any validity, because anytime there's a public warning about a potential terrorist attack, I think that's worth talking about. So let's see if there's anything to it, if somebody's just trying to get Marcos Maidana, Floyd, Maidana rematch set. Floyd Mayweather, if you don't fight Manny Pacquiao, you're a puss. End of story. That's all I have to say about it. Until he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao, before Manny Pacquiao is 60 years old, I don't want to hear from Floyd Mayweather anymore. He's nothing but a mouth. His defensive fighting is not attractive. It's just hide, sneak a punch. That's not boxing. That's hiding. That's turtle boxing. So it's just, I don't know. I don't like his attitude. If he could be just the slightest, have the slightest hint of humility, I'd like him. I still wouldn't like his boxing style. It's too boring. And it's just like one of the announcers said during his last fight, your style is boring. You don't come forward. You don't exchange a lot. You hide, sneak a punch, and you win the round that way. That's boring. That's boring in boxing. Of course you're undefeated, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything now about this terrorist attack, or terrorist warning. There was no terrorist attack that I know of. So if it's not making even the Facebook headlines, then it must not be much. Especially when Monty Python Live does make it. Mick Jagger introduces the Monty Python Live, mostly, press conference. If that's news, but Al Qaeda isn't, I ain't sweating Al Qaeda right now. Yep. Well, maybe Maidana will beat up Floyd Mayweather this time. He is an aggressive fighter. He's very spastic, though, in my view. I'm a boxing fan. I like watching these guys, especially these middleweights. Middleweights on up to heavyweight. I don't generally go lower than welterweight, but the middleweights are always the most exciting, you know, because they're small enough to throw big punches, or big enough to throw big punches, but small enough to where there aren't usually first and second round knockouts, because that doesn't make for a good fight, really. You like to see wars. Boy, we're ugly on the inside. We like to see people at war with each other. We've got ugliness on the inside. There's a part of me that says accept that. That's your nature right now. Your species will move along, hopefully, and progress in an evolutionary sense. But then there's a part of me that says we shouldn't accept that about ourselves, and maybe we have to go and forcefully change our nature. I don't know. Let's see what's going on in chat here. And I already told you guys about the Random Radio Network. Let's see. Yeah. Just got to catch up with Alan here and see what he's been saying. How much is worse than Cali? You lost me there, Alan. What does it mean when you say it's worse in Cali? Although we have... Oh, you're talking about the fees, about registering everything. Although we have non-operational vehicle rates that are cheap. Yeah, well, they're big on environmental out there. I know that. So that probably is part of their reasoning for everything. And I think we all should be worried about the environment. And that these people that still want to debate climate change are kind of piss me off. Because the evidence is fucking overwhelming from 100 different agencies. And, you know, they listen to one episode of Fox News and go, well, it's not proven yet. Well, it really is. It really is. That many scientists, 97% can't be wrong. That's how you look at that, because they let you read what they found in the core samples, and they let you study the methodology they used. And the smartest people I know, some friends, some just famous, believe fully that we are in an unnatural cycle of climate change. And regardless of what's causing that, I'm not here to argue whether man has caused it or not. Who knows? There could be a huge crack in the mantle of the earth, hidden in the jungle, spewing out methane. Whatever the cause is for the CO2 levels rising, we need to get the shit to 350 parts per million or lower and keep it there, period. We can do that. And we're in trouble now. China wants to go through their industrial revolution with cheap coal. Can you blame them? We had ours in the 1900s. They want to do it in the 2000s. Can you blame them? You know? So we're going to end up having to pay them to use cleaner energy. That's messed up, man. You know, we're eventually going to have to come up with a world authority on pollution. That's all. And I can hear the conspiracy theorists are, oh, no, he's voting for a one world government. On a couple issues, yeah, I think we need that. There is no great enforcer now. NATO was the closest we came. I mean, if you're going to hold one country to one standard, you can't hold another country to another standard. You know? I don't know. If you want to see a good documentary that gets down to the core of climate change, coming from a very personal perspective, not just a scientific one, watch the documentary called The Island President, about the president of the Maldives, and that'll bring you current. That'll hit you where it hurts on climate change, on what's happening. Good documentary. It's only an hour and a half long, but it's worth every moment. Reading here. I don't see anything impressive in the news, so I'm just gonna ramble here because I don't want to get distracted too much. As far as attacking other people, cut the shit. Please cut the shit. If you're a radio host, give people something they can use. Give them entertainment, but don't do it at somebody else's expense. If all that person is doing is seeing the world in a different view than you are. If you've got facts that support a view that directly opposes theirs, draw light to the facts and what they say, not to that person and the fact that they're disagreeing. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. People are going to see through it. The most mature people, the largest bulk of the audience, is going to say, you're attacking them. That's ugly. That's ugly to me. I don't even know that other person, but I can see from your character that you like to attack. And they're not going to like it. They're not going to like it. I'm promising you. Maybe in the short term, you know, hey, look, it's a fight. But after a few episodes, they're going to be like, yeah, you're just filled with negativity. I don't have time for you. I don't want that to wear off on me. And it does. It does. It rubs off on people. So negativity to me is like a contagious cancer, and I made an oath with my youngest sister, who I'm closest to, about 5 years ago, that we would kick all negative thoughts and people out of our lives. Kick them out. And you think that's hard, but it's not. Once you focus on it and decide you're going to do it, kick them the fuck out. Because if someone around you is negative all the time, I mean, if they live to talk about people, places, and things that are negative, and they're bitch, and I'm not talking about somebody who's having a bad month. I'm talking about somebody who does this daily. They live to point out flaws in other people, places, or things. Get away from them. Put a foot under their ass and boot them out of your social circles, or it's going to rub off on you and hold you down. If you want a chance at real, true happiness, get negativity out. People, places, or things. If something happened to you at a store that you drive by on the way to work, find another route. Get them out. You're not trying to deny it never happened. You're just choosing to not think about it often. And by getting those things out, you remove the negativity, you get a chance for real happiness. And that's the only chance you have. You show me one person who's truly happy and who also has empathy, who hangs around a very negative person routinely. You won't find them. It's contagious. You know, you can't have empathy and then not feel the feelings of others. And if they're negative, you're going to feel it. I hate it. I've learned to hate negativity. Isn't that kind of ironic? Because I shouldn't hate anything if I'm not negative. But it is the only real threat to me having peace of mind. It is. Everything else is tolerable. So I have to hate it. I have to keep it on my hit list. And I do. And for that reason, I feel a relative amount of peace and happiness. A certain amount of resignation from fighting trouble, but also a certain amount of actual happiness, feeling happy to be alive and to be experiencing this life, which could not have happened in my case without getting the negative people, places, and things away. That's just all there is to it. Oh, let's see. We've been going for a while here, about an hour and a half, which, considering my normal stamina level, is getting into the excesses, if I may say so, and I may. So we're probably going to get on out of here soon. Thank you, Alan. Alan says I make sense. I have a listener named Trilby, my friend from Australia, who listened to my 9-episode series against Alex Jones, and he converted, I think, away from Alex Jones and to my way of thinking. And it was one of the greatest compliments I could have ever heard. And he basically came and shared my show, and he said, of his own volition, he said, this guy does not teach you what to think. He teaches you how to think. And I thought, I'm teaching people how to think? I mean, I've been an instructor before. I was the lead electronics instructor at a career school, but I've never been in a philosophical position on how to teach people to think. And yet, if I admit the truth, which is that it's not me, I'm just taking the best lessons humanity's ever given us. The great thinkers, the Aristotles, the Hippocrates, the Pythagoras, the Socrates. Those guys knew what the fuck was going on. That's how they rose to the top. If I could just pass on their lessons in a modern day context, I'm winning. And I'm helping you to win. And that makes me feel good. That's my way of sharing something. It makes me feel like I'm giving something away in a charitable way. And I encourage you, if you ignore everything I say, don't ignore this. Go to criticalthinking.org and learn that site. All their references, all their basics. And once you learn to think critically, you're going to enjoy a life that feels so much stronger, so much more accurate. And you still will learn to keep an open mind. That's the biggest part of it. With critical thinking, you can't close any topic. You have to keep it open. You can have a working truth. Use your working truth. But don't have a solid, definitive truth that you will never question, because that's going to hurt you. All right, man. Cool, Alan. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, bro. I hope everybody else enjoys the show. Those of you from iHeart that'll be listening to this later, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the show. And I won't play any music or commercials on the way out. I played them earlier in the show. If you do need to find me, you can find me at Spreaker.com/user/truthontap or Facebook.com/truthontapshow. Either one of those will get you there. Make sure to check out the Random Radio Network. You can find them on my Facebook page that I just told you about, or just do a search on Spreaker and you'll find the Random Radio Network there, Alan. And you can listen to his program. I hope that today's message has come through hard and strong to Spreaker host. Don't attack each other. Be better than that. Yeah, you have the right to. I mean, that's what we pride ourselves on in this country. But you also have the right to say your ABCs for an hour and a half on the radio. Is anybody going to get anything out of that? Give people something they can use. Show the younger people that, or anybody who would be listening to you, that personal attacks are not something that can add anything to the grand sum total of psychological wealth of humanity. They can't. They can't. They can only poke holes in the bank. And you don't need good, hard, moral code leaking out of humanity. We need to be adding it. We need to stop attacking each other. You can attack ideas if they're wrong. You can attack the methodology people use to mislead masses. You can do all of that and be helping. But once you go after someone's character, you've lost. You've lost already. Maybe they'll lose too. Is that good enough for you? You take them and the boat down, and you die too? Okay, well, if that's good enough for you, then keep doing what you're doing, but you've got no chance for growth if that's the way you're thinking. You got to unthink that. You got to change that thinking. That is my opine ion, and that's what we're going to leave it with today. If you have any comments, I encourage you to leave those. And if I've been too harsh, well, goddamn it, I'm tired of seeing people attack each other. I'm sorry, I'm just tired of it. It is so wasteful. If you spent half the time that you spent preparing your attacks on other people, on discovering new information to share with your audience, regardless of what it is, could just be a comedy routine, then you would find yourself with a far more prudential future. And I think that it's a lesson that just isn't learned. It has not been learned, and we need to push it a little bit. That's all. That's all. And on that note, that is that. And here goes this. You've been listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead, and we will talk to you next time.